Hello all. So in the previous sessions, we have seen how to create a basic data dictionary table and how to write a simple program using select statement to read the record from database table to program level and displayed the output using write statement. So in this session again, we'll see how to create the table and how to create entries in the table, and we'll see again what is the primary key and what is the data element. So when you are creating a table, you can see an option called data element. We can see, so what is the use of data element when creating the tables? Okay, and we'll write a program on it. So what is the transaction code for data dictionary? SC11. So what are the objects we have available in SC11? We have database tables and different other objects. We'll discuss about remaining objects later. For now, we'll concentrate on database tables. Now to create a new table, what is the option we need to select? Database table option. To check the existing tables, you can go to S11 and enter the table name. Whatever the tables they are not starting with Z or Y, they are standard tables. So these are provided by SAP as part of standard functionality, right? For example, KNA1 is for customer master data. KNA1 is for customer master data. What is MANDT field in this table? So MANDT field is
Client.
used to define client independent table or client dependent table. So to define, is it a client independent table or client dependent table? If we have a MANDT field in the table, so that table we called as client
Independent.
dependent table, right? So if a table that doesn't contains MANDT means that's a client independent
Independent.
table, client independent table. So whatever the data we are creating in this client, so we logged in with client number 800, right? If we create the data using client number 800 and we created some data in this table, if you log in with a different client, if you don't want to see the data which is created in 800 in client number 801, at the time we use client dependent tables by using MANDT as a first field of the table, and should be a primary key. What is a primary key?
To avoid duplicate values.
Yes,
Uniquely
Uniquely
identified.
identify the data.
yes. Primary key is used to uniquely identify the data to avoid duplicate records,
Duplicate.
right? So when we use primary keys and how we use primary keys? When we need to maintain data in a table by some key fields, okay? We choose specific primary keys, specific primary key fields. So definition, this is to avoid duplicate records. At least one primary key is required. Maximum, how many primary keys? Maximum 16.
16.
Maximum 16 primary keys can be used. So when the primary key is identifying the unique records, when we have multiple primary keys, how it will behave? Let's see one example. So in a table we have primary key fields and non-primary key fields, right? If you go to the table, here we have two primary keys. One is MANDT and another one is KUNNR. So now when we are maintaining the data in this table, by which field it's going to maintain unique records? By primary key. For example, if you take employee ID, department, take 100, SAP. Now in this we'll select employee ID as primary key. Now tell me, can we maintain same record again? I'll change the values. I'm changing the values. Can we maintain this record in the table like this?
No, sir. No, sir.
No. Even though non-primary key field values are different, key field value is same, right?
Yes.
So we cannot maintain this record in the table. It won't allow the duplicate record. Now let's assume department is also a primary key. Now tell me, can we maintain this value or not?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. We can maintain
We can maintain because now it will check by these two fields combination.
combination of key variables.
Now it will check by combination of these two fields, right? If you have three primary key fields, it will check combination of
Three combinations.
three primary key fields, right?
Yes, sir.
Like that, it will check up to 16 primary key combinations. Okay. So when you are creating a table, what is very important? Creating a table is very simple because you don't need to write any code. You don't need to write any logic, right? Creating the table is very
Yes.
simple. What is difficult here? What is difficult here? Analysis.
Maintaining key value tables.
Analysis is the different. Analysis is the difficult thing here. You need to analyze how many fields I need in the table. For example, there is a requirement to create employee master data table. Then what is your what is your process to start creating the table? First, you need to analyze. So what are the fields I need to use in the table? List out the fields. Out of all these fields, what are the primary keys I need to use to maintain unique records, right? Do we need one primary key or do we need multiple primary keys? You need to do that analysis. That is very important. And what is the type of each field and maximum length allowed, right? And you need to think about
Yes, sir.
data type and length also, each field's data type and length, right? That is the difficult part here. Creating table is very simple, right? You need to identify all the fields in the table and you need to identify data type and length of the each individual field, and you need to identify the primary keys you are going to use in the table. That is difficult thing, right? So let's quickly create one table. So what is the transaction code to create the table?
SC11, sir.
Yes, 11.
If I use backslash o, what will happen? Slash o SC11. It will open in a new session. Everyone, please follow your own naming standard so that you can easily identify your objects, whatever the objects are tables created by you. For example, I'm following like this Z demo. Like that, you can follow some other naming convention like ZRT, depends on your name, okay? ZCS, like that, okay? Your unique naming standard so that you can easily identify your objects. Others won't like, so that others cannot change those objects. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it's already exists. Let me delete the table. This is how we delete the table. Simply enter the table name and delete. It will delete table permanently, including records, whatever the records we created. It is deleted. So this is my table name. I'm going to create an employee master data table. Continue. Provide the description. So here we need to provide delivery class. What does this delivery class defines? Type of the table. What type of table I am creating? Is it application table or customizing table? So application
Yes,
table
sir.
is for master data and transaction data. Customizing table is for system
Transactional.
configurations. System configurations. Application data
Okay.
is for master and both transaction.
Okay, okay, sir.
Right? Customizing is for system configurations. Okay.
Sir.
Now, why we need to select this? This helps in system upgrades when copying the tables from one system to other system. That is the background cause why we select this application delivery class. But simply you can remember, we are going to define the type of the table. Is it an application table or customizing table? Application table is for business data like master data or transaction data. Customizing data is for system configurations. So select application table. Delivery maintenance allowed. If you don't allow, it won't provide you a screen to enter the records, to create the sample records. Okay. Delivery and maintenance allowed, and go to fields, maintain the fields. So now tell me, what type of table we are creating? Is it a client dependent table or client independent table?
Independent.
Independent. If you use MANDT, is it a client independent table or client dependent table?
Dependent.
Yeah. Client
Dependent.
dependent.
So if you use MANDT in the table, whatever the records you created in one client cannot be visible in another client.
Other client.
And should be a primary key, right? And should be a primary key. Even though we are using MANDT field in the table, that is not the actual business data. Okay, please consider that as some technical field to define client independent data or client dependent data. Please observe that. Okay. So when you are creating the table, what is your analysis? You have to analyze by business data fields. Okay. But MANDT, when you are going to use MANDT, if you want to create client dependent table, then use MANDT. Okay. MANDT nothing to do with our business data. Okay. So what if you don't use MANDT, then that is a client independent table. Whatever the records you created in one client can be visible in all the clients.
Other client.
For example, if you take one company, large organization like Reliance, right? They have different companies, right? Let's assume Reliance is having one SAP system and they are using separate clients for separate business systems. For example, for Reliance Industries, they are using one client, client number 100. For Reliance Electronics, they are using separate client, that is client number 200. Now, whatever the data created in Reliance Industries cannot be visible to Reliance Electronics, right? Or Reliance Digital. Then what type of table they need to create? Client dependent table, right? But if they want to share some common data across all the organization, then what is the table we need to use?
Client
For some
Then
independent.
go
common
with
data,
client
client
independent.
independent table. Okay, client independent table, right?
Yes, sir.
So what is a client? Client is a logical partition.
Yes.
What about the objects? For example, you created one table in client number 800. Is this table going to be available in client number 810? For example, we are creating a table in client number 800. Can you see same table in client number 810?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Tables, programs, all are common to all clients. You can see
Yes, sir.
the table and its fields and primary keys. But you cannot see the data inside the table, which is created in other client. Please observe that, okay?
Client independent. Yes, sir.
You can see the table, program, source code and everything, but only data can be hidden from other client, okay? If you do some changes in this client, so the same changes you can observe in other client also, okay? For now, I'm creating a
Yes, sir.
client dependent table. For that, what I need to use? MANDT.
And DT
I'm selecting
as a
as key
primary.
field. Maybe I'll introduce this when we gone through the data elements concept. First, let's quickly create one table. Employee ID, I'm taking it as primary key. Uh, for now, we don't know what is data element. Go to built-in types. So here in built-in types, you can select the suitable data type. Character 10. I'll provide the description. Can we use space?
No.
Empty space name? No. We have to use underscore if you want to separate the field. Okay. What is that? What is the type and length for employee name?
Party length.
Character.
Char 40. Maybe
Length party.
depends, right? It depends. Someone might use 50 also. Someone might use 30. Right? It depends. But for now, we'll use 40. There is some confusion or not? Let's say I asked you to create the table. Is there any confusion or not? Like at the time of taking the length,
Yes, sir.
what is the maximum length I have to use for name? I can say it is 40. Sai can say it is 50, right? There is some confusion. What is the maximum length we have to take as a developer, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Again, what is the length for character? For now, I'll take 40. Phone. Number. Phone is number type, right? 10. Again here.
Yes, sir. 10.
So do I need to take phone number with a country code or without country code? There is some confusion for me. Is it 10 or including country code? Is it 12 or 13? Right? There is some confusion for me
Yes.
as a developer. Right? As a developer, I have this confusion. Please remember this, why I'm saying this. Salary. What is the type for salary kind of values, like amount values?
Tag to date.
This.
Decimal.
Packet disk.
Yeah, packed decimal.
P.
Here it is DEC, okay? In program we take it as P, but here it is
P. DC.
DEC, decimal. And I'll take some 10. And decimal places. How many decimal places you want to display? 2 decimal places.
2.
And again, I have a confusion. How many decimal places I need to display? As a developer, is it 2 decimal places, or my company uses 3 decimal places, or my company uses 4 decimal places to display the currency, or sorry, to display the amount? I have that confusion. We'll see how to avoid that confusion. We'll see that. Save the table, choose your package. In projects, we generally select a relevant package. Your lead or someone will provide you the package for your module. If you are working
Or
on
while
finance related developments, there will be a separate package. If you are working on sales and distribution related ABAP developments, there will be a separate package. Okay. Or in some projects, they use depends on the object. If it is a table, they use a separate package. If it is a program, they use a separate package like that. Okay. For now, we use a local object. Yeah. What is your question?
while creating package, I'm getting STMP
Ah,
package name.
yeah. Dollar
I can
TMP.
remove that.
That is not STMP. Dollar
Yes,
TMP.
dollar.
Yeah. That is nothing but a local package. That is nothing but local
So
package. Okay. That is nothing but local package. The shortcut for local package is this one, local object button, or you can simply enter $TMP and click on save. Both are local objects only. Okay. Clear? Click on save. What it is saying? Specify client specific application table. Client specific application table. Client specific application table, nothing but client dependent
Independent.
table. Dependent. Specific means dependent. So
Okay.
it is recommending it's an information message. It is recommending to create client dependent table. Okay. It is recommending to create client dependent table. Go to technical settings because we are not using MANDT. Now in
Database.
technical settings we have very important options here. We have data class. What is data class? Data class defines what is
What
the
kind of
data,
data?
what kind of data
Yes,
you are creating. Is it a master
yes, sir.
data? Is it a transaction data, or is it some organizational data, other data? Okay. So what type of data you are creating? Which one defines it? Data class. What about delivery class? That is for what type of table? Is it
Table,
is
sir.
it a
Table.
is it a application table or customizing table? Right? Depends on that. Whenever there is a system upgrades, right? These tables will be copied in data class. But here in in delivery class, sorry, in data class, what are we defining? What type of data? Is it a master data? Is it a transaction data or organization data we are creating? It will define that. Okay. For example, I am creating master data table. Why it is important? Because in backend database, there will be some space allocated for master data. There will be some space allocated for transaction data. There will be some space allocated for customizing data. By selecting this, our table entries are going to be created in that database location, which is allocated for master data. That's what we are going to define in data class. Okay, clear? It is very important interview question. Difference between delivery class and data class. It is very important interview question. Next is size category. What is size category? Size category is approximate number of records we are going to store in the table. It is asking for how many records you wanted to maintain in the table. Tell me some approximate number. If you click on this, you can see the range. If you select 0, it will allow up to 2900 characters. Sorry, 2900 records. If you select 1, it will allow up to 11,000 records. Again, is it fixed for all the tables? Is this range fixed for all the tables? No, it depends on number of fields and their length and data types you have used. For example, let me change the length. If I change the length to 30, and go to technical settings. Select the size category. Number got changed. Since I reduced the length, earlier it is 2900, maximum records are 2900. Now, since I reduced the length, it is allowing 3300 records, right? Size category is different, range is different from table to table. For example, I have selected 0. 0 means it will allow up to 3300 records. Now, I am defining some limit, right? I am defining some number of records limit to this table. So I'm using it in the production system, and after a few years, this 3300 records limit is exceeded. What will happen then? Can we create new records after 3300 records? Can we create one more record?
Yes.
Yes, it won't stop you. Even though you specified this range, it won't stop you from creating new records. It will automatically add one more size category. That means if you are using 0, it will add one more 0 size category. That means additional 3300 records will be added, right? Once that limit is completed, it will add one more time. Okay, but it is always recommended to do proper analysis and define size category. Okay, clear?
Yes,
You should
clear.
not give low size category, or if you should not give highest value, because it will unnecessarily occupy memory space in the database. If you give, even though if you don't need a huge volume of records, if you select 9, it will unnecessarily occupy huge space in the database. Okay, that's why you should always do some analysis and provide the size category. For example, in your company you have 1000 employees. Total number of employees in your company is 1000, and you are creating a table, employee master table. What is the suitable size category here? 0. Because in your company total number of employees are 1000. Maybe in few more years you'll be having another 1000 employees. Maybe after 2 years it will be total 2000. It is very rare that you are going to have a huge number of employees, right? So depends on the requirement, you have to analyze and provide the size category. But there is a issue here when you provide incorrect size category. When you are trying to create lakhs of records or millions of records in the table using some migration, at the time if you provide lower size category, what will happen? It will impact the system performance, because every time when the limit is reached, it needs to allocate a new limit. Okay, now save the table, go back, check the table. So this is enhancement category. You don't need to worry about this. It is just a warning. Enhancement category for the table is missing. For now, if you want to maintain the enhancement category, after few, like, do you want to enhance this future table in future or not? It is asking that. Go to extras, enhancement category, and you can select can be enhanced deep. For now, you can be enhanced deep, copy. Next time it won't display that warning, but this is optional setting for now. Even if you don't select that one, you can create the table. Okay, check the syntax. Activate the table. Whenever you do some changes, you should activate it. Now go to create some entries, where you can create utilities, table contents, create entries. Observe this, in which case I am entering the values. Is it in uppercase or lowercase?
Lower.
Lowercase or mixed case. Camel case I am entering. right? Please observe the values, some 10,000. Click on save. Two decimal places, right? Because we have defined two decimal places. It is automatically converted to uppercase. Please observe this. 102. Save. 03. Save. 104. Take some 8,000. Save. Okay, these records are enough. Go back to the table and display the contents. Number of entries. How many records we have? Total 4 records. Execute this. How many records I have? 4 records in this table. Now, in which case I have entered? In lower case, right?
Yes, sir.
But it is automatically converted into uppercase. The data whatever created in the table is automatically converted and saved in uppercase values, right? When you are using predefined data types, we cannot control this. We cannot control this property. By default, it will convert to uppercase, all the character data. Clear? Is everyone clear about it?
Yeah.
By default, it will convert to uppercase values, right? To control that, to handle this property, we need to use data elements and domains. We'll see that. Now, I've created a table, employee table. The same employee ID field can be used in different tables, like employee salary table, employee attendance table, right? We can use same field name, employee ID in different tables, right? City, you can use city in different tables, employee city, uh, your office location city, right? Different client location city. You can use city field in different places. Like let's say I've created the table and there is other requirement for other developer. He also needs to create one table which includes employee ID, employee name and city. Now tell me, is the other developer able to analyze what is the exact length, what is the exact data type of the field he needs to use? If someone provides it, he can easily use it. But if you don't have any idea, how can he define? There will be some confusion. What is the data type the other developer need to use? What is the length he is going to use? Right? What is the employee name and what is the data type he is going to use? What is the total length he is going to assign for employee name? Different developers creating different tables and using same fields. One developer might use character 10 for employee ID. The other developer might use number 10 for employee ID. Depends on his knowledge, right?
Yes, sir.
For example, one developer in table A, he can use character 40 for employee name. Other developer is creating table B, he might use character 50 for the same employee ID field. Sorry, employee name field, right? So there is no
Yes.
consistency. There is no consistency, right? Everyone can use their own length and data types. There is some confusion here, right? So to avoid this, to reuse the data types, right? To define a specific property for the field, we can use data elements and domains. What is data element? Data element defines semantic properties. Semantic properties like field labels or field text. We can see what is field label and what is field text. This is field description, or what is the data element defines? Field description and field labels. These are called semantic properties. What is domain? Domain defines technical properties of the table field. Which properties?
Technical
Technical
properties of
properties. Technical
the field.
properties of the table field. What are the technical properties? Data type,
Length.
length.
Case
There
sensitive.
is another option, that is
Case sensitive.
case sensitive option. So we have seen, right, it is automatically converting to uppercase, right?
Yes.
If we use case sensitive option in domain, it won't automatically convert to uppercase. It will create the records as it is if you select this case sensitive option. Okay. There are some advantages, some additional options we have when we are using data elements and domains. If we are using these predefined types, if we are just using these predefined types, you cannot use all the advantages available here. You cannot you cannot reuse. The very first advantage is reusability. Reusability is the first advantages if you use data elements and domains. So you don't need to have any confusion. We can define one length and data type, length, and all the properties for that particular field. For example, if you take employee ID, you can define technical properties, semantic properties. Technical properties means data type, length, and these case sensitive options. And semantic properties means description of the table field. What is the description of the field and field labels? We can define all these properties to that field so that everyone can use same data element and domain, so that everyone can follow certain standards when creating that employee ID. Okay. If we use data elements and domains, we can reuse the existing properties of the field, right? Like when different developers are creating, they don't need to worry about what is the data type and what is the length of the field. They can just use data element. Whatever the properties already defined in the data element will be automatically applied to that particular field, right? So reusability is the advantage here by using data elements and domains. Okay.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So in the next step, what we need to do? We need to create the table using data elements and domains without using built-in types. Okay. We are going to use data elements and domains concept. Reusability of the technical properties and semantic properties. Okay. Let me show you in the standard table how the data element will be available. This is the data element. This is the data element. This is the data type and length. What that is defined in this data element. Double click on this. Data element name is Kunar. It is same as field name. Don't confuse. So what is field label? Field label is this heading. Here there is one heading, right? Employee ID, and we are displaying the values. So here, whatever the field label you have maintained in the data element, that will be displayed as a heading for the field. Okay. So inside the data element, we use go to data types. We use domain. Domain name is also same as data element name. Double click on this. What are we defining in domain? Data type and length. Okay. So we'll see creating a custom table, and we'll see in the next session we'll create these data elements and domains. This is very important. Okay. And we'll start using these tables in the program. Next class is very important. Okay. So everyone, please practice again. Utilize today. Please practice again. Okay.